Hey Manuel,
Yo,
what's a rabbit's favorite dance style?
what is it?
Hip hop?
Terrible.
What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Kaki Kartel. And today we're reviewing LeBron's sort of mini signature shoe, I'd say. This is the LeBron 17 Low, and if you notice, this is what LeBron has been wearing throughout the whole bubble series. The Lakers just clinched the #1 spot in the West, and these are the shoes that LeBron has been wearing throughout his sort of run in the playoffs. So the Lakers, if you're a Lakers fan, you know what I'm talking about. Let's get into the review. Before we get into the performance review, let's go through some design aspects. Here I have the Looney Tunes colorway, or the Toon Squad colorway, and if you did not know, Space Jam 2 featuring LeBron James is actually releasing this year. I'm really excited for it. If you were around to see the first Space Jam with Michael Jordan, you know that it is one of the considered one of the greatest basketball movies of all time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is reminiscent of that, the Toon Squad colorway. You can see right off the bat we have the Bugs Bunny fur. We have the red and blue and white hits from their Toon Squad uniform. And what I think is a really cool sort of detail is the inside of the tongue here. It goes, "What's up, Doc?" And it's sort of Bugs Bunny's signature, signature line when he goes into the show. Hey, what's up, Doc? You know what I'm talking about.
Me. What's up, Doc?
And you do have the LeBron logo here. You do have LeBron's sort of signature on the inside tongue as well. And you can also see that the laces are mismatched, so you got red and blue. They do come with extra set of laces, so you can change them according to, the color preference if you're OCD or not. But overall, I do think that this is a really cool colorway of the LeBron 17 Low. There are multiple colorways out now. There's a Lakers colorway, a gray colorway if I'm mistaken, and a sort of linen colorway, which is really cool. And you stand a black and red colorway, but I picked up this colorway because I'm such a fan of the whole Looney Tunes and the Space Jam series. So let's jump into the performance review, starting off as always with the traction. Now, if you're playing a normal LeBron 17, you know that the traction on that is okay. It's fairly decent. It's not super squeaky, it's not super grippy, but it's also not super slippery. And these are no different. Here you see a similar traction setup based on the LeBron 17 highs. And here you have multi-directional sort of grooves here, a flex groove here, as well as a full solid upper. Now traditionally, I do think that solid uppers perform better than translucent uppers, and this is no different. A full solid outsole gave me really good traction on court, on clean courts, dusty courts, mildly dusty courts, and as well as outdoors. These perform actually pretty well. Dust does not get clogged up very easily. A quick wipe and you're good to go on most floors. So traction is definitely something that's decent on this shoe. Something that I appreciate is that the full solid upper as well, and not those sort of like two-piece translucent semi-solid curve setups. This one definitely works. Now moving on to the cushion. Here is something fairly different from the normal LeBron 17s. We get React here in the forefoot. You can see here the React branding. So you do get React in the forefoot as well as a Air Max unit in the heel. Now, personally, I feel that this sort of air bubble sits lower compared to the LeBron 17. I know some people have told me that the LeBron 17, the bubble sits really high, maybe because it's a higher or lower PSI. But for me, this one actually feels a lot better than the normal LeBron 17. I don't feel as too high off the ground as I did in LeBron 17, and imprint protection is actually really good in the heel. The React is quite firm in my opinion. It's not something that you feel in your React runners. Now those are really soft and springy, but these are firm enough to give you really good court feel, really good impact protection, and doesn't sacrifice stability, which is something the LeBron line is typically infamous for. Stability is not as a strong suit of the LeBron line, but in my opinion, this sort of works in tandem, and there's a really good synergy between the forefoot React cushioning and the Air Max unit in the back heel. Overall, I do think that it is still a little bit high off the ground. If you're a really shifty player, these might not be for you, but if you're a bigger player like me, you will definitely feel the cushioning and you will appreciate the imprint protection. Cushioning is good on these. Now moving on to the materials. So this is something I wish could have been improved. Not to say it's really bad, It's just nothing really special. As you can see, the LeBron 17 Low features a sort of synthetic leather along here, followed by a mesh upper throughout the rest of the shoe. I do wish they gave us knit like how they did in the LeBron 17, the high versions, but I suppose they had to sort of compensate for being a lower shoe, something that's not as flexible as knit but also works well. In my opinion, these work all right. It's nothing too fancy or nothing too bad. It is quite flexible, so you can see here, you can still bend it. The mesh upper really gives you that sort of flex points, and usually the grooves here really work well when it flexes, and it just works. Ventilation's all right. Materials are decent, nothing really. I do wish it is a knit though. But overall materials in these just work. If you're looking for a no-frills sort of basketball shoe with decent materials, then you should definitely consider these. Now moving on to the support in these. So this is another sort of small issue I have with the LeBron 17 lows. The last LeBron low that I played in was the LeBron 12 low. That's like a few models back. And this I feel has a similar issue to that. If you play in LeBron 12 lows, you know what I mean. I just feel that this sort of ankle heel area is just too low. Like you feel that it's too low to play in, it's a little bit unstable, and I suppose this lacing system sort of makes up for the lack in ankle support department, I suppose. But for me, honestly, the support wasn't as good as I would have liked. Some people might not feel it, or some people might just look past it, but if you have ankle issues, I do not recommend playing these because they sit really, really low. And I really love playing in lows, even I felt this was too low for me. Now moving on to the fit. So this is where I have a problem with the LeBron 17 lows. Historically, for LeBron 17s, I usually go true to size. I've never really gone half size or full size up. When I tried these are hella snug. So when I tried my true size at 10.5, it was really so snug that my foot felt really suffocated in here. And I think it has to do with these like one-piece booty upper. I'm typically not a fan. I really am not a fan of this one-piece sort of tongue, and that really affects the sizing and fit in my opinion. Fresh out the box, it can be really hard to put your foot in because there's absolutely no give here. You really have to stretch it out to put your foot in. If you have a wide foot, I'd say you will struggle. If you have narrow to normal foot, you can definitely squeeze your foot in. If you're a normal footer, I could recommend true to size, depending on your the type of foot you have. So if you're a really wide footer, I suggest you skip this shoe completely because you will not be able to get your foot in. This tongue has absolutely no give. I'm somewhat wide footer. I do consider myself a wide footer, but I could manage to squeeze my foot in. So if you do want to try it out, by all means go ahead. This is purely based on my experience. After a few break-in runs, I felt that it did loosen up a bit, but not enough to recommend going through the size. I went a half size up in these, and that's what I recommend for most wide footers if you get what I mean. So one more thing I want to add about the fit is that these laces here provide you absolutely no purpose. Like, the entire fit basically comes from this one piece upper here, as well as the sides here, as well as the outrigger. But in my opinion, no matter how tight or how loose I pull this, I didn't really feel a difference. So that's something to note, especially if you're struggling. If you're already struggling to put your foot in, then these laces will do absolutely nothing for you, in my opinion. So overall, I do think that this is a slight improvement over the LeBron 17 high. That one, I feel that I was a little bit too high off the ground to really get a good court feel. If you're a big man, sure, then that's a perfect shoe for you as you're not as mobile, I guess, and you're big enough to play in the shoe. But for the 17 low, I mean, if it's built for LeBron, I suppose anyone can wear it. But again, it depends on your preference. If you like something with a blend of, a little bit high off the ground but still maintaining that court feel, then you should definitely try and check out the LeBron 17 low. So in conclusion, I think that this is something that I probably will put in my rotation, but not very often. It's definitely a fun shoe to play in, don't get me wrong, and it's really fun to think like, oh, LeBron's wearing the LeBron 17 lows and he's been killing it in the bubble so far, but it's not necessarily something I really want to put in my bag. So that takes care of the performance review, guys. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe down to Huddle, as well as follow me on Instagram at BTKicks, where I do more sneaker reviews and sneaker previews. Let me know your thoughts on the LeBron 17 low. Do you like the shoe? Do you not like the shoe? Have you played in them? Let me know what you think. Until next time, guys, we out. If you like what you just watched, consider checking out more sports content on the Huddle Content Network at huddlehuddle.com.